Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. So today, as you can see, we're doing some P42 work. I know I said I was going to try to stick with the Union Pacific stuff, but I just so happen to be working on these, and I figured, well, while I'm working on these, it'd be probably a better time to do a video on these. So we're just taking a brief break from the UP stuff, checking out some Amtrak stuff, specifically the Kato P42s. The Amtrak's. You guys can see some of these I purchased. They actually still have the. I'm guessing that's Japanese writing. Forgive me if I am horribly wrong. It might be Chinese. I'm not 100% sure where Kato's based out of. So forgive me for my stupidity on that. But these are the boxes for these guys. I purchased these quite a few years ago. So these are a little bit older. They don't have DC and sound. That'll probably be something we do eventually, is add DCC and sound, but right now they are just DC. You guys can see I have a nice little group. Got some of the newer style liveries, and then the heritage ones from the 1971 to 2011. At the time when I bought these, this was all that was available. I know Kato has some more out nowadays, but I'm pretty happy with this group. I probably won't buy any more, just because I'm pretty happy with these. But yeah, we'll kind of get into it here. Talk about what I'm doing, why I have it in so many pieces. One thing I will say, if you've never owned a Kato locomotive and you've thought about buying Kato locomotives, I would strongly suggest in buying Kato locomotives. Not just their P42s, but I have some of their SD40-2s and some of their... I have a couple other passenger locomotives from them, some bigger six-axle locomotives, a lot of AC44 units, some Dash 9s, and stuff like that. Kato is a fantastic producer of locomotives. Their stuff is super easy to work on, guys, like super easy to take apart. Everything snaps together really well. And they have some of the best, if not the best, and best running drive lines. Really awesome stuff. Now, speaking of the drive lines, these P42s are a little different. If you've never owned a Kato P42, they're kind of cool, and I didn't know this until I purchased these and I started to take them apart. I figured that we were just dealing with a a simple motor in the middle that shafted out to two gear towers, gearboxes, and that's how it got its power. That's not the case with these. These are built a little differently. It is a split frame and split weight. It draws power from both sides to the panel. And if you own these, you know they're pretty heavy. This whole thing is two huge halves of a weight. No motor in the middle. So they pack in a lot of weight on these. These have really nice weight to them. And what they're actually doing is each truck has its own little teeny motor. So both trucks are powered. And what I found out was even kind of cooler is fully assembled one of these. You like if I were to pop one of these off and put it on my power track, it would run on its own. That's pretty cool. So if you wanted to test just a singular truck and not deal with the whole locomotive, you just pop it off, put it on the track, and it'll go back and forth. Real tiny can motor, and then it even has a little teeny weight that goes, there's a worm gear underneath that gray plate right there. And you guys can kind of see where the pins are that are holding the gears. And it just gears down to the wheel pretty much like a normal truck would. Once again, it's using the split frame on this, so this gearbox is two metal sections that are held together by a lot of the that bottom clasp there with some of the brake detail on it, and then most of this top stuff is separate piece to hold the motor in, separate piece to hold down the worm gear, and then this black piece that snaps on and helps hold the top together and locks it into place on the bottom of the frame. And then to strip this down completely, super easy. Pull that black piece off, pull your little gray snaps out. The motor is only held in by this gray piece, and then these two little pickups that just press in. They're a press fit, and they're super easy to pull out. I would suggest if you do pull them out, straighten them back out and then push them in. That'll help them hold in a little bit better when you go to put them back in. But it's just a couple little steps, and you can pull this whole housing apart if you need to service gears. If you want to clean anything, oil it. This stuff's so easy to take apart, and that's one reason I love Kato, because it is super simple to take stuff apart. Even their other locomotives, everything is built as very economical. Every piece has a use. There's nothing really extra. Detail is nice. The only thing that these don't offer that I wish they did was MU receptacles and MU hoses. They don't really have. Oh, I could get that to focus. They don't really have any of that. They got a couple little faux receptacles there that you can paint up. But as far as like MU hoses and stuff like that, they don't really offer that on these. And the only complaint on the shell is they do not offer windshield wipers like the Athearn models do. But that's not a big deal. You can get windshield wipers, put them on. You can get MU hoses, put them on. Other than that, these shells have fantastic detail. Really nice stuff. You guys can see in here like the cab interior and the headlight section. That's all just stuff that pops in. The little windows, that's all stuff that's easily popped in and out. These nice see-through grates. You guys can kind of see the transparency through those. Those are a nice piece that can pop in and out. Same thing with the rear window. Really nice accessibility. You can completely tear the shell down really easy. The horn is just a nice piece that slips in and out. Your little reverser, which I found this to be pretty clever, since these used, I don't know if they do anymore. I know the antennas have kind of changed over time, but they have a GPS dome right here, and the cool thing that they did was disguise the GPS dome as, well, let me rephrase that. They disguised the switch as a GPS dome. You flip the switch, and when the locomotive is running in reverse, the red marker lights will be on if you're shoving passenger cars, which is really cool. And it's really clever that they thought of doing that. It's once the shell's on, it sticks through, looks like a GPS dome. The only difference is it has a little teeny slot in there for a little screwdriver that they supply with these locomotives. But it's really clever. That's one thing I really like about Kato. They're really clever on how they package things. You guys can see they have holes for speakers, so that way even if you don't buy it with DCC and sound, you can easily apply DCC and sound with little modifications, if any. Under frame's really nice. You guys can see the contact points where the trucks are bringing power up each side of the frame to the panel. These light sections that pop in and out, you guys can see the red tinted lights for the reverse markers, and then the headlights and ditch lights. These are really cool little design pieces that just pop right into place. Same thing with the rear lights, has the red marker lights, and then the headlights that just kind of pop into these black sections that pop into the shell really nicely. So things that I'm doing on these is I'm painting the wheels. I'm painting just the faces of these wheels to get rid of that shiny metal. I know they're blackened or darkened, but I still like to paint them. And you guys can see on these, I've painted these kind of a dull color. All these have, I think this is the only one that didn't have painted wheels. All the others have painted wheels. I've kind of been working off and on and off on these for quite a few years, so it's taken me a while just because I have so many projects. And as we get into some of this, guys, you'll notice I'm super backlogged with stuff, and I kind of bounce around. And I do apologize if my videos are a little here and there and kind of all over the place with what I'm working on, because I do bounce around a lot. I try to stay busy, but sometimes it is hard to focus on one thing for a long time. So I try to dedicate time evenly, kind of spread it out with different projects. But anyway, another thing is we will kind of paint the exhaust insert. This is another really nice piece that just kind of slides in, holds itself. You don't have to glue it. That's another nice thing is you really don't want to glue any of this together, because then you lose a lot of your accessibility, and these things are meant to be pretty durable, and the parts don't wear out too bad. Let's see, another upgrade that we are doing is whoops, drop that. We're upgrading to metal Kato shelf couplers. They have the big locking pins on the one side, and then the receiving ends. You guys see a lot of these on big modern diesels. Cars that have that are able to be rotated have these type of couplers, like coal cars and such. These locomotives have these shelf couplers, so I'm upgrading these to a nice whisker metal Kato shelf coupler. Eventually I will weather these couplers. I'll snip off the little uncoupling part there, and we'll do some more hose detail and stuff like that later on down the line. You guys can see, if I can get it to focus, you guys can see I have a weathered one here. I'll talk about my weathering process on couplers a little bit later. But I think they come up pretty nice, and I make sure that they stay freed and the knuckles are actually able to move the whole time and everything. So we're upgrading to those shelf couplers. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to paint the couplers right now as I put them on, but probably later on we'll worry about that. Right now I'm just kind of working on painting wheels, getting the painting wheels and exhausts caught up on all these, just so I can get them all to the same point, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, guys, these are really nice. They're heavy. They're a really heavy locomotive. They are strong, even though these are really tiny motors. You have two of them, one on each truck, and just with the amount of downforce you have from the amount of weight that you have in these pull really nice. Especially if you have like 2 or 3 of them, you're not going to have any problem pulling any passenger trains. I do have Kato Amtrak bi-level cars for these that I will pull, and you guys will kind of see that later on. But yeah, I figured I'd just kind of do a little video on these, kind of share my love of Kato, which you guys will see coming up with my UP stuff and my BNSF stuff. I have a lot of Kato. Love Kato. Super reliable, great running, super easy to work on, nice detail right out of the box. Even their older stuff had pretty decent detail for the time that they were coming out. And you guys will see some of the older kits that I have too. But yeah, this is just kind of the P42 video there. Kind of give you guys a little look at some of the heritage units. I loved these when they first came out. Had to get them. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you guys own these in HO or N scale, if you like them. If you don't like them, I don't understand why you wouldn't, because they're pretty awesome. But yeah, so until next time, take care.